guys, welcome to Fit Friday. Today we have a return guest, Matt Labazetta with Guild Mortgage. He's going to talk to us today about how to refinance your home. Hey Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey Sandra, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So hey, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? You know, how long you've been with Guild, why you got into the mortgage industry?
Yeah, so I've been with Guild for a little over 2 years. I was with a different mortgage company prior to Guild. I've been in the mortgage industry for a few years. So I'm not an old dinosaur, but I'm not a spring chicken either. Um, I got into the mortgage industry because I was always fascinated by houses and really just the financial aspect of everything that goes into buying a house. Is you have to get creative sometimes. Some people have unique situations, so that was really intriguing for me. So that was my reason for getting into the mortgage business.
Nice. Let's talk about refinancing. What's the benefit of refinancing?
There's a couple different reasons why people refinance sometimes, right? I mean, I think the most popular thing going on right now in the industry is rates are so low, so people are refinancing to save a significant amount on their monthly payment, right? I just literally did a refinance for someone last week where I'm saving them $450 a month. I mean, that's the record for as much as I've saved somebody so far in my career. Also, I mean, you can reduce the term of your loan, right? So, say you've been in for a 30-year loan and you're on, year 22. I mean, we can kind of look at it. Doesn't really make sense to go backwards and refi you and put you into something for another 30 years. So, we'll look at maybe reducing your term by 7 years and putting you in a 15-year loan and most likely probably keeping your payment around the same of what you're currently paying now. But now you're paying your loan off 7 years quicker. So that's another great benefit. Something else that a lot of people do as well is if they have a substantial amount of equity in their home, they can do a cash out refinance. And so a lot of people, if you have a lot of major credit card debt or something like that, they'll pull that equity out of their house and they'll use it to pay off student loan debt, major credit card debt. Or what a lot of other people do is pull that cash out and they'll use it to purchase use it for a down payment on an investment property or a second home or whatever it may be. So there's a lot of advantages to doing a refinance. But what I kind of like to do is sit down with the client, find out what their goals are, and make sure that we align with those goals to ensure that it makes sense for them. So
with everything that's going on right now, have you noticed a lot of people refinancing to benefit from the things that you just mentioned?
Oh yeah, it's a major boom. You see it across the news. You see it everywhere, really. I mean, I feel like every time I turn on the TV or I'm online or I get a text, someone's like, "Hey, I see interest rates are at an all-time low." So, I mean, the calls have been crazy. Every mortgage company across the nation is just overloaded right now. In addition with purchases, right? Because that's super busy. But refinances are it's booming right now.
Nice. What is a high loan to value ratio? Do you look at that when you're trying to decide if a person should refinance or not?
Well, yeah, there's certain limits. So on a conventional loan on a single unit on a single family residence, you can refinance, but your LTV or your loan to value can't be above 97%. It used to be 95%, but they just recently came out with something that'll allow you to go up to 97% LTV.
Wow. What is, I guess, the industry standard for whether or not you can refinance a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or those types of loans?
I think my thing is, again, it's aligning with goals, right? So I don't want to. I like every case is different. So I sit down with a client. Sometimes people will call me and say, "Hey, Matt, I heard rates are low." That I did a loan for probably like 3 months ago. So I'll look at their scenario and I'll say, hey, this doesn't really make sense. I mean, you're only going to save $30 a month. Does that really make sense? I mean, because just like with the purchase, with the refinance, there's closing costs too, right? So on a conventional loan, you can roll those closing costs into the loan amount. So typically I don't like to refinance. I don't like to refinance anyone unless, they're gonna drop a 0.5%. I mean, that's kind of my starting point. And then from there, we have an in-depth conversation just to make sure it makes sense, because I don't want to do that for someone if it doesn't make sense for them in the short term, in the long term, and things like that.
When they do the refinance and you said you have to pay the cost, is that money that they have to bring to the table, or is that money that comes out of the equity?
So no, that would be money that they have to bring to the table.
Okay, perfect. That's good to know. Can you refinance, Matt, an FHA loan if you owe more than the home is actually worth?
That's a tough question. So it depends, because there's a thing called an FHA streamline where you don't have to do an appraisal. So it's really a case by case basis. Most likely not, just because obviously you can't, you're underwater. But there's a chance with an FHA streamline you may get it approved with that, but your chances are slim.
With the refinance, do you also have to pull credits? Do you have to have a certain credit score for that to be able to occur?
With the streamline, with an FHA streamline, no.
Okay.
With conventional, yes, you do have to. There's not a streamline process for that. And it's just the same. It's the same thing with just like a purchase. You have to meet the minimum FICO score requirements that there is for a purchase with the refinance. So it's pretty typical there.
So if I'm trying to decide if I want to buy or refinance, say, the market right now is incredible, but I've got a little bit of equity in my house. And I know it's each person's decision, but from your perspective, when is it a good time to either refinance or decide to buy?
Man, that's a tough question.
Sorry about that.
Tough question. I think it breaks down again. My thing is always, what are your goals? What are your short term? What are your long term goals? So it's like, hey, how many years do we have left on this current mortgage? Do we want to upgrade this house? Do we want to, do we not want to spend the money to upgrade this, or do we just want to take the equity out of this when we sell it and put a large down payment on the next home? So I think it really depends on what your goals are. My goals are probably, are going to be different than everyone else's. I like to keep my expenses as low as possible. That's just me. So if I can spend a little bit of money to do a cash out, if I can do a cash out refinance, still keep my payments low and do some upgrades at the house by keeping my mortgage low, I'm most likely going to do that, opposed to, selling my house, having to put a larger down payment, more money out of pocket, most likely probably having a larger, more monthly mortgage payment. But again, my how I look at things is different than everyone else views things. So it truly is a case by case basis. Right now with interest rates, I think it's a win-win either way. If you refinance, you're going to save a ton of money on your mortgage, depending on when you bought. And then if you purchase, I mean, the bank is basically giving away the money right now. So why home prices are a little bit higher, you're still winning long term because you're paying less interest on that money than you're borrowing.
That's really great information, and it's like you said, it is a case by case scenario where the person has to determine what their goals are. But I think you, and I'm going to give you some props here, being the excellent mortgage guy that you are, you can
Thank you.
You can definitely provide you've provided my clients and definitely provide clients with the tools that they need to make that right decision. So let's kind of talk about that. Since you're with Guild, give me some contact information for my viewers so that if they want to reach out to you and figure out, and try to determine refinance or buy something, you can help them with that first step.
Yeah. So obviously my name is Matt Labazetta. My telephone number is 520-631-6920. That is my direct cell phone number. So you can call or text. And then my email is mlabazetta@guildmortgage.net, and I'll spell that. It's MLAB as in boy, OZ as in zebra, ETTA at guildmortgage.net.
Perfect. Awesome. So we all know you're in Tucson with me here in Tucson. And like I said, you and I have had a great working relationship. And I want to invite you back to the show because I would like for you to also talk to my first time home buyers. You and I have worked on a couple and they were pretty successful, I think. And
Yes.
my clients are really happy with the service that you provided. So I would like to invite you back to the show so we can kind of talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to.
Okay, perfect. Well, any other tips you want to leave people with what to look into if they want to do a refinance?
I think just assess what your short and long term goals are, um, and set a budget. If you were to refinance, if you were to do a rate and term refinance, how much exactly would you want to save? Um, and then we can look at the numbers and see if that aligns. Or if you've been in your mortgage for a few years and you want to explore maybe reducing your term, we can look at that. And then obviously if you have some ambitious goals, depending on how much equity you have in your home, if you want to pay off some debt, which I'm always a fan of doing, or you want to pull some cash out to put a down payment on an investment property or a second home, I think it's great for that. And I'd be more than happy to speak with anyone that's interested in any of the things I just mentioned.
I appreciate it. I do want to get off topic just a little bit. Can you just tell me, and I'm not asking you to endorse or not endorse, but can you just tell me if there are online companies that do refinancing? And if so, what are the things to kind of avoid?
I think there are some online companies, not a fan of them, obviously, because I work for Guild. But I think online companies, their communication isn't up to par. I don't think their customer service is up to par, and I don't think their knowledge is up to par. Just because when you're looking at these online companies, it's more of a call center atmosphere where they're reading off of a script, as opposed to someone like myself who's more of a consultant, who's going to kind of sit down with you and really do a deep dive with you into your financial situation, to make sure that we hit all the cross all the boxes and make sure that we set you up for the best long-term fit for your financial situation, as opposed to, like I said, someone who's just reading off of a script that doesn't have as much knowledge.
I appreciate you answering that because, of course, I've got a lot of young, clients who do a lot of online shopping. And I just want to make sure that they make the best decisions and they keep their investments safe.
Yeah. And one more thing I want to point out is a lot of times these rates that you'll see online, there's a lot of contingencies to those rates. So you'll need to read the fine print. So they'll say, hey, you can get this rate with an 800 credit score and 20% down, and buying down the rate, for an extra $2,000-$3,000. And so we have those options too, but I'm very transparent about how I operate. So I'll provide you. I'm not somebody who will just stick you in one box and say, hey, this is your rate. I'll sit down. I'll work up a total cost analysis for you with a couple different loan options and different rates, you buying down the rate, so you can kind of compare and contrast. And I'll let you pick. I let the clients pick what they want. And then obviously I'll give my professional opinion on what I think is best for them as well.
Well, that's some great information. I do appreciate you taking time away from your beautiful scenery back there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right.